Guys, so we're going to start by opening up Photoshop, and now you have scanned your word, and we're going to move on. I'm going to show you how to edit that in Photoshop to prepare that to take it into After Effects. Okay, so you're going to open your word, click on it, open. All right, so we have to do a couple of things before we set this up to animate in After Effects. We have to make sure it's pure solid black and white, and I'm also going to show you a couple of tricks to enhance the textures. Okay, so if your word is crooked like mine, we need to rotate that. We can go over to image rotation, and we're going to turn it counterclockwise to do it towards the left there. Okay, and then now I need to change my color space. So you guys will notice that up here, it comes in as CMYK from where I scanned it in the scanner. We need to make sure that is grayscale. So to do that, you're going to go up to Image, Adjustments, or Image Mode, sorry. Image Mode, you see the color options here. And I want you to select grayscale. And yes, we want to discard the color information. Say OK. All right. So now everything is in grayscale and it'll be pure black and white. And I'm also going to show you a couple tricks to remove this white background here. We need to crop first. My best, easiest way to crop is to take your selection, your marquee selection tool, or you can hit M on your keyboard to engage that, and click and drag. There you go. We want just right around the word. Okay, with that highlighted, go up to image, and then we're going to crop. Okay, boom, there's my word. To deselect your marquee, you're going to hit Command D on your keyboard. And I'm going to zoom in just a little bit so you guys can see what's going on. I will say I scanned this on the Office copier, and I didn't tweak my settings, so this is not going to be as crisp as your scan from the computer lab, but this is just for a demo, and we'll walk through this in class as well. Before I get started, I just want to show you guys so that you know what we're working with in the interface here. Obviously on the left we have our toolbar, but in this particular lesson and demo we are going to be very concerned with our layers panel. So we converted to grayscale, we're ready to go on that. The next thing we're going to do is create an adjustment layer so we can tweak the levels. Okay, so your adjustment layer, this is in your layers panel over here. Down at the bottom, this little guy, it looks like the little half moon there, it says create new fill or adjustment layer. So I want you to select that. And we are going to do a levels adjustment layer because we are going to tweak the levels of black and white. So select levels, and you will notice you get a layer above here. The important thing about level or adjustment layers, any kind of adjustment layer that you have in your options here, is that that is going to be applied to the layer above. So it's actually blending with what's beneath it. So if you wanted to turn this adjustment layer on or off, or if you wanted to delete it completely, it's not going to edit what you have in this layer. Because in Photoshop, layers are independent of each other. Okay, so if I turn that off, I'm not going to see that adjustment layer, which we haven't done anything yet, so you don't see anything. But if I am doing an adjustment layer, maybe I'm experimenting with some things, I can turn that on or off if I'm working with a couple of different effects, if I'm just exploring effects. And then if I decide I don't like it, I can delete it completely and it doesn't destroy my image. Layers are a non-destructive method of working because you still have your original assets in each layer. Okay, so make sure that you have this adjustment layer highlighted there. This is our levels panel, and what we're going to do is just so this Photoshop is very clear about where our white and our black point is. So we are going to select our sample point there, our dropper. So this is our white, this is our gray, this is our black. So select your white dropper and then click on the white background. So that is going to tell, it's not doing anything yet, but that's going to tell Photoshop that that is your white point. So yes, you click there, and then we're going to do the same thing because we're working with a pure black and white image now because we converted to grayscale. So now I'm going to select my black, which right there it tells you sample black point. Select that guy, and then just click somewhere down in the most solid part of your letter to select your black point. All right, so again, not a ton of change yet, but what we're going to do in the next step, it's really important that we set the levels so that everything blends appropriately. Okay. So here, if you wanted to tweak kind of the fidelity of your letters, you could bump up, and you see the white is getting a little bit more intense. So if you wanted to drag these sliders to make kind of agitate your texture, make that a little bit more dominant, you could. I'm going to bump that up just a little bit because I think that looks cool. And down in your output levels, again, if you see that, it's going to make the background a little darker. It's going to work with your gray. This one we're not going to mess with, but I just want to show you what that tool does. Okay, so I set my white point by clicking this guy and clicking here. I set my black point by clicking the black point and clicking in the darkest area of my image. Okay, all right, I'm done with that. So I'm going to collapse my menu. Again, watch this. If I turn this layer on or off, you guys will notice that it will ignore my changes. But as long as my layer is activated, you will see that reflected. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to move on. We're almost done in Photoshop. We've just got to make sure we've prepped this file so it will perform at its maximum capacity once we take it over into After Effects. Okay. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure that I have selected in my word layer. All right, and I'm actually going to go and just name this awkward, which is my word. That way I know that that is that particular layer. So in your word layer, double click. Sorry, I'm getting a text message there. Sorry, guys. So in your word layer, double click. Let me turn my messages off so we don't get anything popping on there. All right, so in my word layer, I'm going to jump back so you guys can see what I did there. In my word layer, I double clicked. No, right here. Make sure you click on the boxed area, not the name. Double click there. And this is my layer style panel. So you guys see I have lots of options. But what I'm going to be concerned with is this little area right here. You guys will notice it says this layer and underlying layer. We are concerned with this layer. And right now it says blend of gray because we're in grayscale mode. The only thing we're going to tweak here is you guys will notice, again, I have this black slider and I have my white slider. We could fool around with trying to erase or mask out this background. That's kind of tedious, but I'm going to show you the quickest way to get rid of this white background. Take your white slider and drag that to the left. Now I want you guys to pay attention as I drag that. You see where the white, it's taken the white. So what's happening here is it is blending. Photoshop is smart enough to know that I want to blend this, and it disappears and becomes transparent. And that's super awesome. That saves us a lot of time, and we can actually, the texture here that you have in your letter, if for example in After Effects, if you put that over a red background, you're going to see the red under that. So where the white was, it's now transparent. Okay, I'm going to say okay. And so I'm almost done. You guys will notice I have a transparent background. I'm going to crop in on this just a little bit more. Click and drag, go to image, crop, and deselect. Good, that looks good. I'm not concerned. I could rotate this because my letter or my word is a little crooked. You guys will notice it's at a slight tilt. But I think I like that because the word awkward should look a little awkward. So I'm going to keep it. If you want to straighten your words, that's totally up to you. But you're going to, when you animate them, you're going to be doing wonky things with them anyway. So I will leave that up to you guys. Okay. So the one last thing I need to do is I'm going to convert this to a smart object in Photoshop. So I'm going to right click in my layers panel, in my awkward layer panel, I'm going to right click and I'm going to tell it to convert to a smart object. All right. And now I have to save this as a PNG so that it's ready to go into After Effects. So I'm going to save as PNG. So I'm going to say final word. You can label yours whatever. And you're going to scroll down under format here, go to PNG. And when you save, the largest one here is fine. Say OK. And you guys will notice that it doesn't pop up here because I did a save as. So I'm going to go back to that folder and go here. And that is my original word. It's not the one I'm looking for. Wrong folder. Here you guys will see it says final word. If I open that, boom, you guys see how this is transparent. There's no white space. Wonderful, right? That blend if did a ton of the work for us and saved us some time. Again, I'm not concerned about what this guy looks like. It's a little fuzzier than what yours will be from your good quality scan, but again, demo purposes, yours should not be blurry like this. You'll have a good quality scan, and I'll show you how to do that in class. All right, so we're good to go. We have prepped our work.